searching for a new chancellor to lead the greatest system in the world. And and I especially want to thank the trustees who have made it their objective to get broad input from across the 23 campuses. Before you today are just some of the members of the Trustee Search Advisory Committee, as well as the Trustee Committee. I'm serving as one of two presidents on the Advisory Committee, and we have representatives of students, faculty, staff, and of course the trustees. Today's session is aimed at your providing reflections on what you think will be essential characteristics and skills and experiences of a new chancellor as we begin to undertake this process. As you may or may not know, the aim is to announce at the March board meeting the new chancellor. And so this process is aimed at getting as much input across the 23 campuses. I think there are going to be 6 campus visits. We are one of the 6. I think we had two, one at East Bay, one at Sac State. This past Wednesday, we had a session at the Chancellor's office there in Long Beach, and I think we have San Marcos and Fresno remaining. And so again, it's an attempt to cover this very large state. So I'm going to pass this over to the chair of the search committee, Trustee Jean Furstenberg, who will then guide us through the other introductions. So again, thank you so much for coming out, and we're looking forward to your input, your engagement, and there will be an opportunity even after the discussion. If you think of something that you weren't able to convey at this meeting, there will be an opportunity for you to provide other input as we try to shape the position description, but also help us to think about, as we are engaging with candidates, the kinds of characteristics that we think are important. So, Trustee Furstenberg.
Oh, thank you so much, President Coley. You have a wonderful campus. I've been here many times. It is always a joyful experience, and I don't know why, but the weather has been just terrific every time I've been here. And thank you for coming. Thank you. We know it's the Friday before Thanksgiving week, so it's not the ideal time. But as trustees, our responsibility is to appoint the chancellor, the vice chancellors, and 23 presidents. That is our responsibility as trustees. It's the most critical thing that we do. In Chancellor White's tenure so far, there have been 21 new presidents of the 23. There will be 2 more presidential searches this year. So what we do today will have a large impact on our process and our thinking about the next chancellor. My name is Jean Picker Furstenberg. I was asked to chair this committee by Adam Day, who chairs the trustees. My life has been devoted to preserving the history and advancing the art of the moving image. And as such, I really believe that we learn through stories. And what I look forward to today is hearing your stories about your experience at Cal State and what you want Cal State to be. Let me ask all of my colleagues to introduce themselves, and we'll go in a circle this way.
Okay, well, good afternoon, and again, thank everyone for coming. My name is Deborah Farrar. I'm a trustee. I have been on the board 20 years through 3 different governors. I am an alum. I have multiple degrees from Northridge. It was actually called Valley State when I was there, so that dates me. And as Trustee Furstenberg said, this is the most important thing that we do. And we all are, I can speak for my colleagues, we all feel our work as a trustee will be the finest thing we'll probably ever do in our lives. So we're very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Juan Garcia. I'm actually a student here. So I'm the voting student trustee. I'm in my 4th and final year here as a, thanks, I know. I'm a political science major minoring in American history. One of my professors is here, Dr. Speak. Thank you. I think I said this at Long Beach, but last year I got to be part of 4 presidential searches, and I thought that was pretty much the biggest thing I could do. And then I got the call to sit on the trustees committee for the chancellor. So I'm grateful to be given the opportunity to provide the student input. And I look forward to doing that alongside Michael. So thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Wenda Fong, and I am a CSU trustee. I've been a producer, director, and creative executive in the entertainment industry for 45 years. I graduated with a degree in Asian American Studies, and I have served on this esteemed board. Greatest privilege and honor to be on the CSU trustee board for a year and 8 months.
Good afternoon. My name is Silke Hewitt. I am the Deputy Chief of Staff in the Chancellor's Office. I'm a proud alum at Cal State Long Beach, and it is a true pleasure to be here at the beautiful Pomona campus, my first time ever here, and it's an honor to be part of today's process. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Mitchell-Crosley. I'm here with the search firm Isaacson Miller that's assisting with the search.
Hi, my name is David Belshaw. I'm with the search firm, and Katie and I have done 10 of the presidential searches here in the Cal State system, including President Coley, so we're very proud of one of ours.
I'm Roberta Achtenberg, and I am trustee emerita of the CSU Board of Trustees. I spent 16 years on this board and 2 years as chair, and I've been asked to be the senior advisor to the committee to choose the next chancellor, and it's an honor and privilege to be here.
Hello, my name is Michael Hendren. I'm entering my 9th year as a staff member at California State University, Sacramento. I'm the staff assembly president on our campus, a shared governance campus. I have many years of nonprofit board experience, as well as a lot of volunteerism around Sacramento and the local communities. And it's an honor for me to represent all the staff on this important search for the next chancellor.
Hello, I'm Sai Abrego. I'm a trustee and also chair of the Government Relations Committee. I retired from Cal State Fullerton as acting vice president for student affairs.
Good afternoon. I'm Evelyn Nazario, Vice Chancellor for Human Resources. I've been with the Chancellor's Office going on 12 years in January, and have about over 35 years of human resources and collective bargaining experience in both higher ed and private sector.
Good afternoon. Thanks for showing up today. Nice crowd. My name is Andrew Jones. I'm the Executive Vice Chancellor and General Counsel for the CSU system. I've been at the CSU in the legal function for almost 20 years now. Prior to that, I was in a national law firm in downtown Los Angeles. I was a partner there, not getting a lot of warm, fuzzy feelings from doing that. I did that for about 16 years. And I'm a product of the CSU, first in my family to go to college. I got in, had access to an affordable, excellent education, which you know is one of our mantras. And so after slugging it out in the private sector, I decided to leave and come back and actually work for the system that gave me my start.
Good afternoon. My name is Peter Taylor. I spent 16 years in the investment banking business, and like Andy, didn't get a lot of warm and fuzzy feelings from that as well. And ceased to do that on September 15th, 2008, when it stopped being any fun. I then transitioned to be Chief Financial Officer for the University of California system. I did that for 5 years and retired, and now I run a small foundation that does national grant making, focusing on post-secondary education student success initiatives. We give about $38 million a year to different initiatives to help students from low-income first-generation backgrounds succeed in higher education. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, have been for a little more than 4 years, where I chair the Educational Policy Committee, as well as chair our investment committee, which is actually statutorily created with only one trustee and lots of alumni who have investment background. We also report to the Finance Committee, the chair of which is
me. Hi, I'm Lillian Kimball, and I'm the vice chair of the board. I'm an attorney by training, but this has really been the most important job, I think, of my life, and it's evolved. I've been on the board for 5 years, and when I was appointed, it was a great honor and a shock and a surprise. Didn't really know what I was getting into, but it has turned out to really be such an education for me, and I believe in lifelong learning. I'm the daughter of two parents who never graduated from high school. My mom was from Mexico and left school at 13 to go to work. And the fact that I was able to graduate from college, I went to UCLA undergrad. I also went to law school there. So I've learned, I never thought of myself as first gen or underrepresented or any of those labels that I've learned now. But what I do know is that it's so important to support and maintain these incredible educational institutions for which California was rightly famous and which are becoming increasingly endangered. So I think the job we're here to do today is so important, and I'm so glad to see you all here to be contributing your voices. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Wiafe. I'm a student at San Diego State University. I'm a fourth year studying political science, and I'm president of the Cal State Student Association, representing the 500,000 students on the campuses of the California State University. I'm on the advisory committee and will be providing the student voice along with Juan. Thank you all for coming, and the amount of input that you all will provide to us will be taken very, very considerately. I grew up in the Inland Empire after my family immigrated here when I was a young child, so being back in the Inland Empire is a great place to be, and look forward to hearing everything that you all have to say.
As I think you're aware, we are live streaming this. It will be available and archived if you want to look at yourselves again, or if you think somebody else might be interested in seeing what was shared. And I urge you to ask your friends and colleagues to look at the Chancellor Search website. It's very, very interesting. You can find it at calstate.edu/chancellor-search. There's a lot of information about the CSU and the Chancellor's position. There's also a place on there for you to leave comments as well. So we encourage that. If you would prefer to just send an email directly to Chancellor Search, one word, at calstate.edu, you can just leave your comments there as well. So thank you all for coming, and we're just here to listen. So please, we look forward to your thoughts, and perhaps a couple can line up at one time, and then we can hear from as many of you who would like to share. Thank you so much. Just you won. You go first.
My name is Isabel Sam, and I'm at.
Do us a favor.
Oh, yes.
Maybe push that a little bit lower and talk
Okay.
directly. Thank you so much.
Okay. My name is Isabel Sam, and I'm in the registrar's office. I'm also a student at Cal Poly Pomona, and I'm been at the campus for 20 some years. And what I'm looking to see is from and I haven't prepared this at all.
That's okay.
But I want to see a difference in administrators. I want to see a difference in faculty. I want to see a difference in me as a staff member to the students. I love the students. I love working here. And I want a bit of a difference from the chancellor, who will be delegating information to our president, and that there'll be change for better, because I was reading up on Syracuse University, how the profiling and what's going on there. And we have that issue right here. And I know our president is doing all that possibly can be. And so I would love to see a chancellor come in and is willing and able to go out to the campus every so often, see how it is at each different campuses. I was here when Chancellor Reed was here. So that was great. He came that one time that I was here. So I want to see that more often. I want them to get our input to see what we have to say from all of us. The students, their raises, they're getting increases. They're constantly, and it's difficult for them. And then I see that in foundation, the food is so expensive for them. So I'm here and I see too much going on as to the cost. The cost is just rising. And that comes from the governor to the chancellor, and then he passes on to all his different presidential of the 23 campuses. So I hope to see changes in that. I also hope to see changes in how others are treated among, that he will promote more collaboration within all, because there seems to be a hierarchy going on where we're not feeling all equal. So that's what I'm looking for, someone who's sensitive to our needs, who listens to our needs, are allowing us to provide where we could give input, feedback. And that's not often the case. And I would love to see where every so often the trustees come in and they ask staff, they ask students, they ask the administrators, they ask everyone for help. That's what I'm looking for.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did you say which degree program you're in?
My program is with masters. You're right.
Absolutely
and he's terrific.
shameless. Yes. Folks who know me know that I do this all the time. I'm very proud of the Masters in Public Administration program, as I am proud of the Political Science Department and the Political Science program, where Juanfer is about to graduate. I have lots of reasons to be proud today, including the fact, in addition to having some small part in Juanfer's moving through this institution, I did serve, with the help of Isaacson Miller, on the advisory committee to the trustees committee to select President Coley. I'm very proud of this campus. And so I want to appreciate, can we describe it as a cinematic effect of having everybody choose a hat and take a picture with the campus? And that's really what I want to talk about today. One of the real tough challenges for a chancellor is leading a system of what I like to call 23 universities, as opposed to 23 campuses in a university system that is overarching. And of course, to lead a system means to provide guidance to the campuses. But what's really important is that you allow the beauty, the strength of every campus to build upon itself. And so I'm hoping that you get a chancellor, he, she, they, who is able to address the challenge of leadership, to be able to put her mark on the system without squashing what really makes this such a strong system, and that is that we've got 23 very strong universities within the system. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming back, those of you who've been here before. Trustee Furstenberg won't remember this, but she allowed me a selfie when she was here last time, and I sent it to very great effect to my screenwriter son-in-law.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tony Espinas. First of all, happy Thanksgiving in advance to everyone. Anyway, ma'am, I like what you said about telling our story. First, after 4 years of active duty in the U.S. Air Force, I decided to pursue my education at Cal State Sacramento and transferred here in '89. And I graduated electrical engineering, got hired 2001, and then transferred to College of Ag in 2005. Anyway, about the story I would like to share with you is, as we all know, that our primary or priority is to provide our student quality education in a safe and healthy environment. I don't think that's happening in some of our areas, as far as I know, as a technician for the AMM department, wherein our students are exposed to unhealthy classroom with ongoing rat problems, dying there, and they smell it, the faculty smell it, and ever since 2005, we've addressed it. And the other thing is, that's not healthy and that's not safe. And we have to deal with our students and faculty. We call that inhale those smells. And that's not good, that's not right. Anyway, the other things, ma'am, sir, I thank you for your service as well. I appreciate that, and we're all here as a team for our students. And one of the things I've experienced, I've noticed as well, is the scrambling of space. Departments, colleges trying to scramble for space. And with that, it's jeopardizing our students again. Like, for example, in our department, in our building 45, it's like, I know you've experienced construction site. Our students are exposed to that. You could hardly hear what the lecture is about, being interrupted by dust, interrupted by those sonar, those planar. I'm not disagreeing with those, but I think it's just a matter of trying to position. Where should this be? Should it be, because AMM students and other architectural students, putting them together doesn't match. Sesame Street, it's like, it's too noisy and a lot of dust and it's unhealthy. And there's a lot of nails and all that, and our students walking with their high heels and exposed to that, and there's not even any barrier protecting them as they walk towards their classroom. I don't understand if there's a flow up of information to the Board of Trustees, to the Chancellor. Maybe, College of Ag is the pioneer college as far as I know, at Cal Poly Pomona. And we have new colleges, new buildings for College of Science, College of Engineering, business, and all that. Maybe can we start a campaign, at least for providing a College of Ag building fund? I don't mind putting money on that, but if I don't see anything that says College of Ag building fund, I won't like to put money on that. I don't know where it's going. Maybe if it's $1 million, $10 million to do this, maybe a lot of people are willing to put in like $1,000 a year for that, to reach that $1 million. If it's for College of Ag or for other colleges, which needs to position themselves for this generation. It's a matter of positioning ourselves. If we're not providing them the good state-of-the-art building, they're not going to encourage attracting high caliber faculty and staff and students. And thank you so much for your time, ma'am.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you. I'm Terry Gomez. I serve as the Associate Vice President for Student Success, faculty here for 20 years in Ethnic and Women's Studies. As the most diverse, and I dare say the most important, largest system in the country, what happens at the CSU resonates with the entire nation. I'm very grateful for Chancellor White's leadership. He's made excellent gains in student success, but you have a wonderful opportunity to find a new leader that reflects the diversity of the CSU. I see my president here, so that must mean she's not a viable candidate for this position, which is really too bad for the CSU. It's good for us. But I think you really need to explore the enormous talent of leaders of color, in particular, and women who could make a difference in this system. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gwen Uri. I teach urban and regional planning here, and I'm a colleague of David Speak. We're also both on the statewide academic senate. And I would like to make a plea that our next chancellor use some of his power over 23 campuses or 23 universities to affect a more sustainable vision for the future of the CSU. And this vision will complement a vision that he has really evolved very effectively during his term, and that is the attention to basic needs of students. So I've been very impressed with what I've seen in terms of creating program and really finding ways to help students with basic needs. But so far it's been pretty much limited to food and shelter, which those are pretty basic needs. But for many of our students, the next need is transportation. And campuses seem to have complete autonomy over everything to do with transportation, and some autonomy is good, but in some cases, like on this campus, it meant that the very nice articulation that we had with a bus system, 2 bus systems actually, when I first came here, was tossed away, and we had nothing. And we had a terrible relationship with the local transit agency. Thanks to President Coley, we have repaired that. We are on the way to providing much better bicycle access, or not that yet, transit access to our campus, I hope, even by next year. But that has been the vision of our campus president. And if we had a chancellor who was able to use the same kind of leadership he has used with basic needs to affect that kind of change campus by campus, and also to prevent campuses from damaging the kinds of relationships they need, I think that would be great. And then the other piece of that, going back to the bicycle thing, is that in addition to transit access to campus, I think all the campuses need an active transportation plan. All the cities have them. Why not the campuses, which in many ways act like a small city? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Hector Maciel. I'm alumnum here. I graduated from here. I'm a staff member, 16 years. I'm the chapter president for CSUU Employees Union. So we have over 800 employees, staff members, and there's some from what we want from the new chancellor coming in. We want equitable representation on the advisor committee. Every stakeholders group gets equitable representation on the advisor committee. We want the same number of people as every other group. Staff means representing staff and nothing else. We have to have a process where staff gets elected or appointed their own representative, or each gets appointed by their own group to the advisory committee. Staff can decide on their own who wants to be represented on their committees. We don't need management to tell us who to represent us. We want a chancellor who doesn't hide mountains of money in outside accounts, meanwhile turning out his pockets and bargaining, telling unions that the money to pay staff, equitability, and competitive is just not there. We want a chancellor who won't be complicit in taking money from staff paycheck disguised as furloughs and allowing the system to profit while staff go without. We want chancellor who will listen to legislature when they say we support fair and equitable pay for CSU rank and file staff employees. We don't support huge raises for executive management until staff pay problems like lack of steps and divergence have been completely remedied. This current chancellor doesn't support representative staff members in voting in a voting position on the board of the trustees. We want a chancellor who will run a university operation. We will not be ignored. Thank you.
Thank you, Hector.
Hi, my name is Dr. Mark Bilby. I'm a faculty at Cal State Fullerton. Made the trip up, not too far. I'm a librarian as well. My area is scholarly communications, which means basically looking at scholarly publishing at Fullerton, but across the system. I was in communication with a colleague at the UC Office of Scholarly Communication just yesterday and talking about the example that President Napolitano has set for the UCs in her advocacy for open access. When she came on board in 2013, the UCs were, you might say, a little bit behind the curve nationally, with Harvard and other universities passing major open access policies that basically ensured that all faculty journal articles were made freely available to the public to read, the accepted version of those journal articles. So Harvard, many of its colleges, Harvard Law unanimously passed these policies. The UC stepped up under President Napolitano's leadership in 2013 and passed a system-wide UC open access policy. And in the Cal States, myself and others have been working on trying to pass a similar open access policy. It's been a bit of a hard slog, and part of the feeling about that is that there's just a lack of awareness about the open access movement and scholarly publishing. There's definitely a strong emphasis in the Cal States on open educational resources with the Merlot project and making educational resources affordable for students. We could be doing a lot more in that area for sure, but it would be very helpful to have leadership at the very top that's aware of what's going on in open access. If you read President Napolitano's newsletters, she's aware of their negotiations with Elsevier. If you've heard about that the UCs stepped away from an $11 million a year contract with Elsevier to make sure that all of their faculty publications are made openly available. I'm part of a system-wide group that looks at electronic resources for the system. Our contract with Elsevier, the big deal, is $4 million a year, and we're currently in negotiations about whether to preserve that or not, or to do a one-year deal. Elsevier, if you know, is a Dutch company with a major monopoly in journal publishing. They have a 40% gender pay gap. They have almost a 40% profit margin, which for business people, is absolutely absurd. So they use us as faculty as basically indentured employees. We do all of the work, students and the taxpayers pay all the money, and then they get none of the benefits, right? So the open access movement basically is an issue of justice. Taxpayers are paying for this research, students are paying for this research, and then they often can't even access that research that they're paying for. California, fortunately, is one of the leading states in the country to pass open access and open educational law. We have Assembly Bill 2192 that was passed several months ago, and it starts in 2020, so all state grant-funded research has to be made available open access in that accepted version. I just want to have somebody at the very top who is aware of what's going on in open access. If there's we mentioned movies before, there's a great documentary called Paywall that does a really great panorama of scholarly publishing around the world. If you can give an hour of your time to watch that, it'll be a good introduction to what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you for coming from Fullerton.
Good afternoon. I'm Sylvia Alva. I serve as the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs here at Cal Poly Pomona. And I also am a CSU alumna and count it as one of the most important and transformational events in my life that certainly changed the course of where I was heading and where I am today. So I really am grateful for your leadership in helping us identify the next leader of the CSU. Some of the ideas that I would like for you to consider are those larger leadership traits that a chancellor needs, particularly now and moving forward. Someone who's creative, who's a problem solver, someone who's not afraid to ask, why do we do it that way? Is there a better or different way of doing that? And picking up on Dr. Speak's comment, who finds the right balance between providing campuses the space, the autonomy to differentiate themselves, but also thinks creatively about how do we leverage what is common, repeated on many, many campuses, and potentially helping to create efficiencies and ways in which we can work smarter, not necessarily harder, and use our resources to leverage the power of a 23 campus system. The other issue that I think a lot about is those values of access and inclusion and quality. And I think it's important that the next chancellor really be someone who understands those values and who is prepared to live up to those values. I continue to be very angst about saying we have access, but also now almost every single campus is impacted. That doesn't sit with me. I'm trying to understand what can we do as an institution to create access. And for me, that's a larger conversation around helping campuses to define how can they create access, how can they partner with others with industry to leverage the resources and the talents that are on every campus as well as in the regions that they serve. And I think the other part of that, and I want to give President Coley a lot of credit for this, on this campus, she's helped her leadership team think much more creatively about multi-year budgets, multiple approaches to how we manage those resources. So I'd like to see a chancellor who is out there helping the legislator and others move beyond this annual funding and reactionary approach to the important work that we need to do, both to reach our GI 2025 goals, but also the goals beyond that. What will be the goals beyond 2025? Those, I hope, will include graduate education and positioning the universities to be a place for lifelong learning and continued community and industry engagement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cal Poly Pomona. My name is Tisha Roby. I'm the AVP of Learning and Research Technologies, previously a faculty member in the College of Education and Integrative Studies here at Cal Poly Pomona. My comment and suggestion has to do with digital and technology access. As we know, it is a determinant of equity and opportunity in the 21st century. And so I would like to see leadership that is cognizant and doggedly determined to ensure that it's incorporated in our curriculum and co-curricular activities and provide resources to allow that to happen so that our students can prepare for what happens here and beyond and the future of work and continuous learning and to just enrich their experience, and so that technology is not a set aside and an afterthought, but certainly a part of their experience while they're here on this campus and other campuses so that they might enrich their lives and those of their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Rocky Sanchez. I'm from this campus. I've been 25 plus years here. I'm a rank and file staff member, and I am a Unit 7 person, but I also am the VP for Representation for CSUEU. All of you that are on the board have seen me this past week. So I have a couple of questions to begin with. The first one is the staff rep. Can you tell me what position you hold?
I'm a plumber. I'm a Teamsters Unit 6.
Thank you. Got to talk to one of your reps this past week. The other question is on the search committee. I know this is an advisory committee. Will labor have a seat at the table? In other words, will labor be represented? I'm not saying all the unions, just a representative of all the unions to be on the search committee. That's a question. You don't have to answer.
Oh.
I'm just saying. So, and the other thing is in terms of, you wanted to know in terms of what we see or what we would like to see in a chancellor. What I would like to see in an incoming chancellor, she or he would not try to turn the CSU system into a mini UC system, because that's what I've been watching over the years. I've seen some of the things that have gone on at the UC system when I've talked to my brothers and sisters from that system, and I've seen a lot of things being transplanted into the UC system and the perspective. Some of the vice presidents or presidents come from that system, and they look at us, meaning those within the CSU system, as being like the UC system. The other thing, because I travel all over the state in my position, and we're really concerned in terms of the chancellor, she or he have collective bargaining experience, so that they understand when we stand up at the Board of Trustees, and maybe we call them out, maybe we don't, in terms of where we're coming from, and that they look at staff, rank and file, with respect, and actually realize that we're the backbone. We're the ones that, along with faculty, assist the students through their education, regardless of whether we sit in an administrative office or in an academic office. So those are the qualities that, not just from a labor perspective, but from my perspective, because I had almost 20 years working in a private academic situation in terms of like the Claremont colleges, working for them, and then coming here to Cal Poly. So I've got it from both sides, and I know how much it feels to be treated with respect. And I hope that the chancellor does not permit bad managers to be rotated out into another campus to create the same problems that they created at their original campus. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Greg Wood, President of the Academic Senate all the way from Cal State Channel Islands.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having these open sessions. So we did use your excellent website and solicited input from our faculty to bring and read to you today. I'm a physicist. I will be brief. Generally, we'd like a chancellor who focuses on the quality education, particularly the basics, that is, graduating students with solid academic intellectual skills. And there's a consensus to have a chancellor who would decentralize the appropriate amount of authority across the CSU system, as you've heard before. Lastly, I have one of our faculty produced a quote. Then I opened the Analytics of Confucius quite at random this morning and read what Confucius said about King Yu. With Yu I can find no fault. He ate and drank the meanest fare, while making offerings to the ancestral spirits and gods with the utmost devotion proper to a descendant. We'll take shared governance. He wore clothes while sparing no splendor in his robes and capes on sacrificial occasions. He lived in lowly dwellings, while devoting all his energies to the building of irrigation canals. We will take a new physics building. With you, I can find no fault. I think this perfectly captures the kind of person that would make a good chancellor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Pass. I'm the Dean of the College of Education and Integrative Studies here at Cal Poly Pomona. Welcome to you all. As you are probably well aware, the CSU has a special function. In addition to all the other wonderful things it does, it is responsible for producing most of the state's teachers, and by virtue of its size, really the largest share of the nation's teachers. And that impact is not only on colleges of education, but on all of the K-12 schools, and really pre-K too, that encompass this nation. We're producing most of the teachers in the nation. And people are paying attention. So the choice that you make, I hope, will take into account this very special role, that we need someone who really knows teacher education, not someone with just passing experience with it, because it can make a profound difference in the future of this institution, because if we produce good K-12 learners, they're the ones who are going to enter our university. So please take that into account as you're making that decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michaela Bird. I am a student and AS board member from San Francisco State University. I was on my way home this morning, so I'm from the IE, and this just happened to line up with my schedule. And because my fellow board members were unable to attend the forum in East Bay because it was on a Wednesday, I decided to come and represent them.
Thank you.
So I've compiled statements from my fellow board members that they would like me to share with you, so I will read those to you. The University of California, California State University, and the California Community College systems were founded based on the idea that all of the people in our state should have access to a high-quality education, no matter your identity, income level, or academic success. We need a CSU chancellor that will truly represent students by acknowledging their struggles, know what will work best for students both personally and academically, and be a student-oriented administrator that will do what it takes to solve the most important issues throughout California State students. We should look for a CSU chancellor that promotes transparency within the CSU's community and helps to establish such practice throughout the system. We need a CSU chancellor that reflects the diversity of our students attending the CSU system. We need a CSU chancellor that focuses on all the issues students are facing. It would make a priority to focus on bettering efforts to help our students' success in and out of the classroom by tackling such issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Hunter, and I am the ASI Vice President of Cal Poly Pomona, as well as part of CSSA as the Vice Chair of Internal Affairs. I mentioned this because the broader theme of what I think my students would like to see in a chancellor is accessibility, not only to education, of course, but accessibility to students. I mentioned my experience of being in ASI for 3 years and being part of CSSA because I feel like I've had to basically pursue a second education in what the Cal State student, the CSU is all about in order to feel confident enough to talk to you all about it. And so there's a lot of jargon and there's a lot of words that most students don't understand, so that it's hard to talk about it. I've had to, in my board of directors meeting, I had to give them a presentation about what the chancellor does in general in order for them to even understand and feel confident enough to be here today in order to give input. So I think the biggest thing I would like to see in a chancellor is to be able to talk to students in language that they understand in order to get their input. And yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rocio Antonio. I'm a student here at Cal Poly Pomona and on our board of directors as well. Something I just would like to see in a chancellor is a chancellor that prioritizes basic needs, just like Chancellor White did. It's something that can be implemented across our 23 campuses, and it's something that students need in order to be successful and receive their education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Micah Parker. I also sit on the board of directors, and I'm also the vice president for the Black Student Union here at Cal Poly Pomona. One thing that I would definitely like to see in a chancellor is to see somebody who is actively committed to diversity. And when I say diversity, I mean that as being more than just pictures on a brochure and statistics to brag about. I need a chancellor who is actually committed to helping students who are underrepresented and constantly ignored and silenced within the various CSU systems. From my own personal experiences with different Black Student Union presidents from all of the CSUs, these are issues that affect all of us. And so we need a chancellor who is willing to take an active role to be an ally, not to just say that they claim diversity and inclusion just for show, but to actually come and listen to the needs of students and talk to students, like Rachel was saying, because there's a lot of things that students face that as administrators sometimes you are unaware of because you don't come to our level and come to address us and see what we need. And thank you.
Thank you.
I can have a second turn on a completely different subject. Mark Bilby again. Linguistic diversity is something that I think is part of our community in California. We have a kind of a sad legislative history of trying to enforce English-only education. What's happening right now in our K through 12 system is a massive movement toward immersion education. My 3 children all went to Mandarin immersion schools. I've worked on Department of Ed grant program with Cal State Fullerton, where we're making Vietnamese children's books to make sure that Vietnamese is kept alive as a language in Orange County. We have so many Spanish speakers, Korean speakers, Vietnamese speakers, Mandarin speakers in our community all around us. And when I walk around my campus, I hear that. And when I walk into my community, I hear that. But in our classrooms, I don't hear that. And when I look at our curriculum, I don't see that. There's a massive amount of academic literature being produced in Mandarin today, as well as French and German and Spanish and Portuguese. And there's an academic arrogance and ethnocentrism that assumes that all knowledge is conveyed, produced, disseminated in English. We need leadership at the very top that recognizes that we live in a linguistically and culturally diverse world where knowledge is coming at us in a lot of different ways and forms, and that can help us think strategically, not just about an ethnic studies requirement, as good as that may be, or language programs, as good as those may be, but actually help students become bicultural, embraces their biculturalism, instead of seeing students who are multilingual and seeing their first language as a deficit, to see it as a strength, and actually to build that into our curricula.
Good afternoon, trustees. I'm Audrey Dow, the Senior Vice President at the Campaign for College Opportunity. It's good to see all of you. I know we saw you earlier this week, and I'm not here to talk about that.
Thank you.
Yes, I know we've got other things we all care about as well, equally important. So first of all, I just want to thank you for hosting all of these public forums. It's really, I think, a wonderful first step in sharing how willing the committee and the CSU is to ensuring a transparent process and an opportunity for our community stakeholders that aren't on the inside to participate. So thank you for having the foresight and vision to doing that. You know, the new CSU chancellor is going to inherit a 23 campus or university system that's the backbone of California's economy and workforce, a worldwide driver of research and innovation, also a system that's more racially diverse than ever before, facing serious capacity constraints and persistent, stubborn racial equity gaps in access and in graduation rates. I agree with you, Trustee Furstenberg, when you say this is one of the most important jobs as a trustee that you're engaging on. And we trust that you're going to conduct a diligent, transparent, and inclusive search that identifies leaders committed to putting students first and growing the college graduates that California needs. I'm going to give you a list, and we'll send a letter, as we always do, of things that we hope you'll consider as you're thinking about the new chancellor. First of all, our new CSU chancellor must be passionate about the power that higher education has to transform students' lives and build a strong economy. They must have the experience and a plan of action for closing systemic racial equity gaps in higher education access and graduation. They must have a commitment and clear vision for ensuring the student body, faculty, and administrators reflect the racial and ethnic diversity and income diversity of the state of California. They must demonstrate a record of courage and innovation in leading institutional change and in removing unnecessary obstacles that prevent students from succeeding. They must demonstrate a commitment to providing academic supports and solutions that are student-centered and evidence-based. They have to be an advocate for data transparency and committed to using disaggregated data by race and ethnicity and income to advance and assess all policies and practices. They must be an experienced, collaborative leader, committed to working with K-12, community colleges, the UC, and our private independent universities, as well as external stakeholders, including civil rights, community, and business organizations. We know what happens when that doesn't happen. They must have a record and commitment to operating in an open and transparent fashion with students, the legislature, and the public. As you continue to define and refine the attributes necessary for the next leader of the CSU, we urge you to keep in mind the type of values, the record of experience, and the vision that I've just outlined. We also urge you to remain transparent in your process as you move forward, providing stakeholders with new opportunities to engage as you begin to curate your short list of candidates and as you move on to finalists. We stand ready, as we always do, to work with you in any way that we can to ensure the best leader for our CSU system. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the fourth campus, well, 3 campuses and the Chancellor's office that we have visited. And what's exciting when we come to the campus is to be with you and to see the energy and the excitement that each of these campuses contain. We heard today from faculty, from administrators, from union leaders, from students, and that's what the CSU is. You are together what makes our students' experience what it is. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be with us and to talk to us. It really makes a difference.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Samantha Fidel. I'm a 4th year political science major. I'm also on ASI Student Government. I serve as the Officer of Civic Engagement. I grew up in San Diego, so Pomona is not my hometown. I was lucky enough to find my home here. I love it here at Pomona, but I do get brokenhearted when I hear the experiences of students who do not feel welcomed on this campus. I have heard plenty of my colleagues speak to me about how they feel discouraged when they speak to their admin and their professors. And I think that with the new chancellor, we should really push for diversity, not only diversity, but also inclusion, making sure that there's training for staff and admin so that the students do feel welcomed on campus. And a lot of the times when they don't feel welcomed, these students are coming from low-income families and families that weren't attending college themselves. So when they are experiencing these situations, it leads to them not wanting to come to school and maybe dropping or failing out. And then that affects the attendance rate. And I think that with the new chancellor's search, really reflecting the diversity and inclusion and to make students feel welcomed at Cal Poly Pomona and at all the other CSU campuses. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Hi, my name is Leah Dobson, and I'm the Dean of the Collins College of Hospitality Management. And I'm not going to give you suggestions about who to hire, but I just want to thank you for being here. I worked in Texas in several universities for over half my career, and never once did anybody ask us what we wanted to see in a chancellor. This is an amazing opportunity for us to be able to communicate with you. So I just wanted to thank you all for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Kathy Schmidt-Whitaker, and I work here at Cal Poly Pomona. And I would like to reiterate what has been said about she's selecting a chancellor that represents the diversity of the CSU system. I also would like to see a chancellor that understands and promotes accessible digital and web technologies that increase the access and reduce the barriers that individuals with disabilities experience, students, employees, and those within the community that interact with the CSU campuses as well. When we talk about diversity and inclusion and access, we also need to realize that there is sometimes individuals that are not able to access applications, entrance buildings, experiences due to physical as well as electronic barriers. And a chancellor who understands and promotes accessibility will strengthen diversity, inclusion, and innovation for the CSU system. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon again, ma'am, sir. Thank you so much for your time. The importance of seeking our new chancellor. Anyway, I'd like to share with you a passage from the book of Proverbs. It says, a nation without a vision will perish. And so that's very important, and thank you for your time to find the right chancellor for us for the CSU 23 campuses. And the other thing is, our college, we're seeking for a dean as well. And I hope the outgoing chancellor, since he has experience and had a panoramic view of the CSU system, will be able to share some insights to our incoming dean to lead us. Because I think a college without a leader and a vision will disintegrate and perish. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pasindu. I'm the ASI president at Cal Poly Pomona. So during my 4 years here, I've sat on a lot of search committees, and sitting down here, it's been a lot. So while I'm sitting down and just listening to everything, I think for me, the most important thing that I want to see in a chancellor, and I've discussed with it a couple of members on sitting here right now, but I think it's simply shared governance. The students on this campus, the students on every campus in the CSU want a seat at the table. So simply put, it's just shared governance. So we need a chancellor who understands the importance of the student voice in every conversation. Not just one or two, it's everything.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for visiting us. My name is Emma Gibson. I'm the interim dean of the University Library at Cal Poly Pomona. I've been at Pomona for about 30 plus years, and I've been interim dean for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. So I'm really enjoying myself. But thinking about our new chancellor, I think one thing that's really, really important, I agree with a lot that have been said here today, but one of the basic things is that money, the budget, how are we going to pay for these things? So I think it's very important for the chancellor to have the ability to work everywhere with the legislator, to make them understand what we are, who we are, what we stand for, how we benefit the state, how we benefit the citizen in the states. And I think sometimes the Senate of California doesn't clearly understand that. What the CSU really does, And the CSU is really important because it's really a place where people like myself, who come from a family that are not had the advantage of higher education, or even at times finishing high school, have the possibility to do so themselves. So the CSU really, really do a great job for our city. No, I'm sorry, for our state, and I think is not well known at times. So I think a chancellor that can really articulate that to not only the legislature, but in our communities as well, various communities, the school systems, the mayors, etc., would also be really important. Another thing I think is also important for a chancellor that I think is important for the success of our students is the philosophy that of course, we're here to educate the students, but we're also here to help them to, enlarge their horizon. Not just come here to get a degree in accounting or in engineering, et cetera, but also to learn something about the world we live in and how they can contribute to it and make it better. So we need someone with that type of vision as well. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome to Cal Poly Pomona. I'm a proud alumni of Cal Poly Pomona and I'm a proud parent of Cal Poly Pomona. One of my sons is a graduate and I have a current son here as well. One thing I think a chancellor could be helpful with is rebranding the CSU, similar to what Dr. Gibson said, people don't understand the value of the CSU. When I talk to family and friends of my son's friends, they go, well, you're just going to a Cal State. Well, you're just going to Cal Poly Pomona. And I'm the first one to stand up and going, no, we're going to a Cal State, and it is Cal Poly Pomona. I am the first one to say how much I love my campus. I have over 20 years of service. I left and I came back, and I left and I came back. What drew me here is the love for my campus and what this campus did for me. I was the first in my family to go to college. I was raised by a single father, and this campus did a lot for me personally and professionally. And I think everybody should have the value of it. The private-public partnerships that the Cal State could have, and what the power of the CSU, our purchasing power and our employment power for this state. We have a lot of opportunities, and people don't understand what we provide, not only to the state, but to the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. That's okay.
Hello, my name is John McGuthrie. I serve as the Vice President and Chief Information Officer here on campus, so I'm responsible for technology. I am married to a psychologist, and my son graduated from this university and studied philosophy, and now he's pursuing a PhD in philosophy, which means that we get to tell a lot of jokes about what happens when an IT person, a psychologist, and a philosopher have dinner. But what makes that dinner very special to me is that there's a lot of diverse views, a lot of different ideas, and a lot of different perspectives. And I hope the next chancellor recognizes that philosophy, IT, and psychology are all very important.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Rotuni. I'm Executive Director of Academic Research and Resources on the campus. I've had the wonderful good fortune to have been a student here and then a staff member here and now an administrator here in my career. It's a wonderful place, and I thank you for being here today and with us and listening to this. As I hear what everyone's had to say, the enormity of the job of the chancellor and the enormity of your job in choosing a chancellor, it just boggles my mind. I cannot imagine. And what I know, though, is that, of course, the chancellor works with a team of people. It's not one person who's going to be doing all by herself or himself all of those duties. So I feel better about that. One of the things that's on the horizon we keep hearing that I want to put on the radar, and I know it's probably already on your radar, is the need to deal proactively with a potential recession in the state of California. I was here in a financial management role during the last recession. I know, as Provost Alvo has mentioned, President Coley's efforts to put us on a multi-year budgeting kind of plan and have us thinking ahead has been incredibly helpful to the campus. And I think as a system, thought needs to be put into how are we going to grapple with the potential of resources. And also the other one that would impact us equally is the decline in high school graduates that we keep hearing about in the state of California. Those things are going to impact our system. How are we going to deal proactively so that when the effects start to be felt, that they're not hitting on the campus as a surprise, as a ton of bricks, or hitting on all 23 campuses as a surprise, as a we have to do something this year, that is a major then impact. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I want to thank you all so much for being here. I just chorus with my colleagues. My name is Lauren Bricker. I'm the interim dean for the College of Environmental Design. As you know, in the CSU, we have two polytechnics, and within those universities, we are very, very proud to have departments of architecture, landscape architecture, urban and regional planning, and art. And I just want to make as strong a statement as I possibly can about the importance of these disciplines. Our students are graduating, and they are very much in the leadership statewide for these disciplines. And we have impacted programs, and all one has to do is to travel through the various cities in the state, and you know that the offices of planning are populated, often led by our alums. Likewise, this is true in architecture, landscape architecture, and the visual arts. As I think we're all very aware, the visual arts, of course, are more than just those fields that support the specific disciplines I've already mentioned. They had very much to do with training one's mind in terms of sort of visual culture and really expanding students' intellectual capacity. And I just want to say that we very much appreciate the support our colleges have received and continue to see that grow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. My name is Suketu Bausar, and I'm the director of the Honors College here at Cal Poly Pomona. And it's come up a couple of times, and I want to talk about excellence in education. I think that there is a two-tier system that is viewed as a two-tier system in this state, the UC system and the CSU system. And I think the chancellor should understand that being accessible and being there for all the students of California does not mean that we do not have excellent students here. Students that compete with any other student at any other place, and I see them. And so this chancellor should be able to convey that to the state, because one does hear this sort of thing from high school counselors. Oh, you're UC material. And some of those students, in spite of that, have visited, come here, found their home, and realized, and then gone on to graduate school at these very famous places. I tell them that these places are famous because they have faculty who do research. There are Nobel laureates there. You might never see them in the classroom. And sometimes that rings a bell with the parents saying, oh yeah, that's true, it's the graduate students were teaching these large classes there. So a chancellor who understands that this system also stands for excellence.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your stories. It's a great way for us to learn about you. And thank you to all the people who came to Cal Poly Pomona from different campuses. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Are you standing there for some reason? Don't you want to come to the middle? When I think about, I think everyone in this room understands and appreciates and recognizes that the CSU this is an excellent, committed, remarkable institution. And it's been led by an amazing chancellor who told us that that this really was the California State University, but we were truly the compassionate state university that sought to be the inclusive, compassionate state university. Carry those words with you because they symbolize what we are all trying to do. And by your presence here today and sharing who you are and why you're here and what you want the CSU to be, you have really helped us understand even more the awesome responsibility we have. But we couldn't thank you more for coming out, and we wish you all a Thanksgiving with your family in good health. And thank you for being part of the CSU family. We're all in this together, and it's a beautiful family. So thank you very much.